Hey guys, this is Jason. I'm reviewing The End of Oak Street, directed by David Robert Mitchell and is produced by J.J. Abrams. It's about a family that lives in a suburban neighborhood in the 80s, but all of a sudden, their entire neighborhood is taken to the prehistoric times, and this family have to stick together and survive this whole neighborhood while a bunch of dinosaurs are running around killing people. I was kind of curious about seeing this film. I wasn't super excited because most dinosaur films don't always get the best rap, and that's because Jurassic Park is considered to be the best dinosaur film because that's the one that captured the magic of someone seeing a dinosaur in front of them. Even I think Jurassic Park is great, and if you guys have seen my review recently, then you already knew that. But there are also some other dinosaur films that I have enjoyed myself, like I do like Disney's Dinosaur, mostly just for the animation, and Land Before Time is also a fan favorite for a lot of people, but there really aren't that many good dinosaur films out there. The Good Dinosaur from Pixar was okay, but very forgettable. And of course, Universal's endless trend of trying to make Jurassic World films that just don't work. So it's kind of rare for them to make a good dinosaur film, and I was hoping that this film would at least be enjoyable, because I am a fan of J.J. Abrams as both a producer and director, whether he's directed films like his Star Trek trilogy or Mission Impossible 3, or produced films like 10 Cloverfield Lane. And I do think David Robert Mitchell is a good director. He did do It Follows, which is a pretty good thriller. I do recommend seeing it if you haven't yet. So with that mindset, I was thinking that this film would just be enjoyable. And it was. I enjoyed it for what it was. It's not great. It does have some issues with some parts of the story, which we'll of course talk about later. First off, the acting is pretty solid. Both Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway are great in this film. I bought them as a couple who are dealing with issues in their marriage. They're not talking to each other a whole lot. They're not agreeing with a lot of things that they're saying to their kids. So you see them go through this problem that they have where they're not really communicating a lot. But when they're stuck in the middle of this situation with dinosaurs, they're kind of forced to work together to try to figure out how to get out of this situation. And I bought into their chemistry as well as their chemistry with their two kids. And I got invested in them and I want them to survive, even though some of them have been distant from each other. And this movie can be pretty funny at times. Sure, there's still some parts of the humor that did either come off flat or just didn't work for me at all. But there were still a lot of parts in the humor that did give me a good chuckle. I will say there was like one scene that did give me kind of a big chuckle. I won't get into spoilers, but all I'll say is that there are two characters that see something interesting in front of them. I'll just say that. And this movie does have a good way of building suspense. Like when this neighborhood first comes to the prehistoric times, you don't see the dinosaurs right away, because when they start to realize where they are, they mostly hear the dinosaurs either from a distance or in the shadows or behind the trees. And when you see the dinosaurs, that builds up a lot more suspense when they finally see what is going on. And that helps build more of the tension. Like when they're barricading their house, they usually hear screams from the distance from someone getting killed. And when you do get to see that suspense, it pays off very well. In particular, one scene involving a car and some fire. I won't get into spoilers with that. But what also gives this film a very suspenseful and creepy tone is with both the cinematography and the lighting. Mostly in the nighttime scenes, when you're seeing characters walk around trying to figure out what they're listening to, and you're seeing a lot of blue and green lights around them, and a lot of shadows in the night, that does help elevate more of the tension. As well as the cinematography, where you have a lot of moments where the camera's just panning around the neighborhood and you're seeing more of what the dinosaurs are doing. It's kind of the same thing It Follows has with both the lighting and the cinematography, and how that movie uses that to build up tension. Now, despite the fact that this movie is PG-13, this movie still doesn't shy away from some of the violence, because there are times where you still see that happen. Sure, there are times where you would just see a dead body and there are already like bite marks on the body from a dinosaur, but there are still some parts where you either see a death happen or you see the aftermath of the death. Like you get like one character that's getting attacked by these creatures, and then after that all you get is like a wide shot of the house, and on the side you get like a little puddle of blood. So again, yeah, some of the deaths are either off screen or you just don't see the whole character getting eaten by a dinosaur, but there are times where you still have some moments where they're brutal like that. And the CGI is pretty good, which I was a little skeptical about at first when seeing the dinosaurs, knowing that they're just made from computer. Because most of these dinosaur films like to use a lot of CGI and less practical effects, and sometimes they look good, but sometimes they would look very cartoony. But here, luckily the CGI is really good. All the dinosaurs look cool and terrifying. And I will admit, seeing the dinosaurs with their feathers or fur was a little weird for me to get used to. Now granted, I don't know everything about dinosaurs, so I don't really know if there were some that looked like that. So I really can't judge this movie for having dinosaurs that are accurate or not. Then again, people have been kind of judging Jurassic Park recently because that one has had dinosaurs that aren't accurate anymore. Now, I do have some issues in that sometimes this film doesn't always balance the tone. Sometimes it will be a dark and creepy monster movie, and then there'll be times when it's trying to be a comedy. And this movie doesn't always mix them well. They can sometimes make some of the humorous stuff feel a little out of place. Now, granted, it's not throughout the entire film, it's just in like a few scenes throughout. But my big issue with this film is the way it ends, which I'm not going to get into spoilers. If you want to see this film, then go ahead. I am recommending this film. Go ahead and see End of Oak Street. So I'm not going to say what happens in this ending, but what I will say is that when it wraps everything up, showing how everything ends for the characters, it's supposed to be like one of those wholesome endings that's supposed to be good for the movie, but unfortunately, it's one of those endings that you think about for a while, where you go, that doesn't make any sense. And unfortunately, the more I thought about this ending, the less I liked it, because it left out a lot of plot holes, where it just made things so confusing and doesn't make any sense for the rest of the film or how they end it. So there's gotta be like some kind of alternate ending for when the Blu-ray comes out or when it comes on streaming, and we can find it there to see what the original ending was. Because for me, this ending just didn't work for me. It was nice when I first saw it in the film, but it's one of those things where the more I thought about it, the more plot holes I thought of when they happened. But overall, I still enjoyed the End of Oak Street for the acting, the CGI, the cinematography, the lighting, and the atmosphere do make this a fun watch in the theater, and I do recommend seeing it. Now, people recently have been saying that this film is the best dinosaur film since Jurassic Park, and as for me, I personally don't agree. I'm not saying this movie is bad, I still enjoyed it, but saying it's as good as Jurassic Park is a bit of a stretch. Plus, this movie also has some problems with its story and its tone, but overall I still enjoyed it. And that's why I'm gonna give The End of Oak Street a B. So guys, if you have seen The End of Oak Street, what do you think about it? Do you think it's the best dinosaur film since Jurassic Park? Or do you think this movie was boring and you weren't invested and you didn't like the dinosaur stuff? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing, because it helps my channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you know what other videos I'm posting. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.